When you're lying in bed, unable to sleep, why not watch an episode of stress-relieving, sleep-inducing wilderness construction? He is the ultimate solution for those suffering from midnight insomnia, guaranteed to help you drift peacefully into dreamland. Quickly, rest your right foot on your left, grab your phone with around 65% battery, and slowly enjoy this satisfying process together. The cold Freljord region is always so mysteriously distant. Here, there are not only soul-healing snowscapes, but also the gentle murmur of flowing streams, making it the dream destination for every wilderness construction enthusiast. Today, our protagonist, Shuai Kun, sets foot on this land. He plans to build a uniquely styled shelter to escape the tense and oppressive urban life. After finding a relatively open space, he begins today's construction work. First, he clears away the surrounding Zarlant Shugan to create a space with Kakwashiye. Then, Shuai Kun takes out his ancestral shadow war axe. First, he trims the branches off the trees, making the young poles clean and tidy. After cleaning up several small poles, the next step is to outline the shelter's design. He uses an iron shovel to clear the snow and debris from the ground, resulting in a suitable foundation. Once done, Shuai Kun selects some suitable logs from around. After determining the appropriate size, he wedges the logs tightly between adjacent large trees. Each pair of adjacent trees requires one log. This gives a rough outline of the shelter. Finally, he piles unearthed stones on the logs to secure them and prevent loosening. Next, Shuai Kun cuts suitable notches at both ends of the logs. He makes 8 such logs in one go. The next step is to assemble the shelter's framework. He secures the cut logs between the trees, wedging them tightly one by one. This creates an octagonal frame. To prevent the logs from coming apart, Shuai Kun also uses wild hemp rope to wrap around the shelter's framework. As the saying goes, mastering physics and chemistry gets you everywhere. And today, Shuai Kun proves just that. He first ties the hemp rope to a small stick, then twists the stick to tighten the rope, pulling the tree trunks outward. After completing this task, a rock-solid shelter framework begins to take shape. Then, Shuai Kun places several sticks on the frame. For support, preparing to start building the roof section. This 高空作业看起来非常安全. Actually, it's not safe at all. He first builds a triangular roof frame, then builds around the triangular frame. This construction method is crucial. A slight mistake could lead to total failure. But Shuai Kun, despite his youth, works with skill no less than that of an experienced craftsman. All connection points are secured with wild iron nails, thus completing the roof skeleton. Finally, he cuts off the protruding wood with a saw, marking the end of today's shelter framework. Then, Shuai Kun takes out a roll of tinfoil, wraps a section of the roof with it, for later installation of the stove's exhaust pipe. Afterward, he uses plastic wrap around where the roof and walls meet, wrapping it around once, covering it thoroughly. Preparing for the subsequent roof construction, he collects some highly flexible sticks. First, he measures the dimensions on the roof with the sticks, then assembles them into a triangular frame, adding several sticks in the middle for support. Unknowingly, the sky begins to drizzle. Light snow. Shuai Kun knows he must speed up the construction. He tests the made frame on the roof. The size fits perfectly. Finally, he securely fastens a stick strung with plastic wrap, then wraps the entire triangular frame with a layer of plastic wrap. This treatment ensures excellent mifungsing, not only wind and snowproof, but also bo-win bao-meet. Shuai Kun follows this method, making 8 triangular roof covers in total. But considering the severe snowstorms in Freljord, he gathers a bunch of lush pine leaves, using buckles to secure the leaves, all onto the frame. After trimming all the edges neatly, he gets 8 beautiful and elegant green leaf roof panels. Then he must fix them all onto the roof's gudzar. This kind of roof is something I've never seen before. Shuai Kun seals every area tightly, ensuring they fit closely together. Thus, a green grassland-like roof is achieved. Then, Shuai Kun cuts suitable grooves at both ends of the logs, fixes them onto the frame to determine the door's position, then uses several small poles to assemble a door frame. After securing it with wild iron nails, he can install it on the frame. Considering his habit of sleeping on a Simmons bed at home, so he plans to use plastic wrap to build a comfortable grass bed. First, he uses plastic wrap wrapped around 4 tree trunks to outline a rough bed wedge, then uses plastic wrap to horizontally wrap a thick mattress. This creates a very sturdy bed structure. Even bringing a girlfriend to exercise on it would be completely fine. A few minutes later, the resting place for the night is completed. To create a comfortable floor, Shuai Kun takes a sack to collect some sand and soil. This type of sand and soil is clean and tidy, ideal material for flooring. He transports the sand and soil back, bag by bag, using a burlap sack, and spreads it evenly on the ground, making the ground appear more spacious. However, to prevent the ground from becoming muddy after rain, he needs to take further measures. Shuai Kun takes a thick log and carefully processes it with a saw, cutting it into uniformly thick round wooden boards. These boards will be an important part of the flooring. He lays the boards piece by piece on the sand. Each board connects perfectly, not only keeping the ground dry, but also adding a natural charm. But there are some gaps in this flooring. Shuai Kun uses the previously leftover sand to level it, then uses pine needles as a broom to carefully fill the gaps, ensuring every inch of the floor is smooth and comfortable. Then, Shuai Kun collects many oddly shaped stones, spreading them on the unboarded ground in the middle. After all, this is where the stove will be placed later. Insulation cannot be overlooked. If the stove's high temperature sets the floor on fire, that would mean Titen Chujen, too difficult. Finally, he needs to complete the remaining walls. He still uses plastic wrap. For ceiling work, he carefully wraps the plastic wrap layer by layer along the main frame, sealing every corner of the shelter tightly. This way, it can effectively block the invading cold wind and to some extent maintain the temperature inside the shelter, allowing Shuai Kun to have a decent home in the wild. Then he brings out the pre-installed door, thus completing the entire shelter. Finally, he just needs to install the stove. To provide a bit of warmth for this little wilderness home, he places the stove on the previously stone-paved spot. He climbs onto the roof as nimbly as a monkey, connecting the exhaust pipe to the tin foil-wrapped opening, ensuring smoke can be discharged smoothly. After connecting and installing the exhaust pipe and stove, Shuai Kun splits a log in half, In no time, he makes a simple dining table. After working for so long, it's time to prepare a sumptuous dinner to reward himself. He starts a fire, the first one this winter, then sets up Red Wolf's flat pan. Next comes the moment to cook delicious food. Shuai Kun places a marinated steak into the pan for frying. As the steak sizzles, an enticing aroma instantly fills the air. Shuai Kun skillfully flips the steak, ensuring each side heats evenly, frying until golden and crispy. The sanfen shu steak continues to be wrapped in tin foil, placed in the charcoal fire for roasting. To lock in the steak's tenderness and juiciness, then fries some charming small potatoes. As tonight's drinking snack, half an hour later, a lavish dinner is complete. Shuai Kun slices the steak into pieces, arranges them on tin foil, and can now enjoy it beautifully. After eating and drinking his fill, Shuai Kun makes the indoor stove burn brightly, lies down on his Simmons bed, and rests quietly